What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Bubba Cast, the only podcast that follows the in-ring wrestling career of Big Bubba Rogers, aka the Big Boss Man, Ray Traylor, and I am your host, Zerpie. Joining me, as always, is Lacy Traylor.
What's up, Bubba?
What's up, Bubba?
How you doing?
Good. I'm doing so good because we watched an awesome episode of WCW Monday Nitro. I couldn't wait till we got to Monday Nitro because Monday Nitro is kind of... It was my thing, is my intro to pro wrestling. Although I was not watching at this time, so it was really cool to kind of jump back to just before I started watching and see what was going on in WCW. And this night is crazy.
It did not disappoint.
Yeah.
And I have to say, shout out to Dom from over at It Doesn't Matter podcast, who I'd went on their podcast as a guest. They were kind enough to have me on, and he had texted me a couple of days later, was like, have you seen this episode of Nitro? Oh, it's so hilarious. You got to watch it. And we were like, you know what? As if we needed more of a reason.
Yes.
Let's do cover that one next episode of Bubba.
Yeah, so in this episode, the Bubba match we are covering is Big Bubba versus Road Warrior Hawk in kind of a rare singles match because obviously the Road Warriors, you see them together, Hawk and Animal. Now, I don't know if Animal was possibly injured at this time because that's usually what happens. If one member of a tag team gets injured, the other one will just, hey, I can still work. You still need to make money.
Right.
Just put them in some singles competition. And so maybe that's what's going on here. Either way, very interesting match with a very interesting finish. But before we get into that, we have to start off the show. This is, we've got Eric Bischoff, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Steve Mongo McMichael on commentary. Now, Mongo has a special guest with him.
So funny. So funny.
Mongo has his little chihuahua, little miniature chihuahua, Pepe.
Tell me you're a diva without telling me you're a diva.
We get a fit check on little Pepe because he's wearing a tiny cow print cowboy outfit with matching tiny cowboy hat to go with it. And it also matches the cow print accents in Mongo's shirt.
Well, they coordinated.
They coordinated?
To a T. It was perfect.
So funny.
Slay.
I love this. So I guess this is before Steve McMichael joined the Four Horsemen. When I started watching wrestling, he was part of the Four Horsemen. But we see the Four Horsemen later tonight. He is not part of that. He's just hanging out on commentary. I don't even know if he's wrestling right now.
I'm learning so much.
You're like, I don't know. Exactly. And this is before I was watching too. So a lot of the stuff that confuses me about this episode, because they're putting over the main event right off the bat. The main event tonight is Sting versus Hogan. Like, holy shit, that's a big deal. And even Bobby the Brain Heenan on commentary is talking about how this is kind of a pay-per-view quality main event that you're getting on free TV.
It really was, though.
So, yeah, insanity. But I'm trying to figure out why the hell is Hogan wearing all black?
Where is his goatee? Terrible.
So I had to do some research, and his mustache, his famous mustache, was shaved off by the Dungeon of Doom, who he's feuding with in this episode, in this era. So they, shaved off his mustache, and I guess he's just gone, to the dark side of Hogan now. He's wearing all black. This is pre-NWO. So that has not happened yet. And also Macho Man is on his side, and he's also wearing black and white. But again, not in the NWO yet. That doesn't happen until a year later. So I don't know. I had to look it up. I guess he was pushed too far. They shaved his signature mustache. Lacy, what do we do?
Shave the curtains around the back of his head too. All right,
just go clean shaven. Just go hairless.
What it really is.
What does hairless Hogan look like? I don't want to know.
Oh my God, no, that's a nightmare.
So Bischoff calls tonight the Super Bowl of wrestling, which is an insane statement because we have WrestleMania, right? No. Hey, it's a big main event, but it's still just Monday Nitro. So let's calm down just a tad bit. So Bobby Heenan says, now you're going to hear something out of me that you never thought you'd hear. I'm going to be rooting for Sting tonight because I want Sting to beat Hogan. And when Sting is done beating Hogan, I hope he falls down the stairs and hits his head and knocks himself out and they eliminate each other.
The smack talking tonight is amazing.
This is why Bobby the Brain Heenan is just an absolute legend in wrestling. His commentary is like none other. He's one of the greatest on the mic. He's so funny being a heel. But he knows that Hogan is still kind of gone to the dark side, but he's still a babyface. Sting's a babyface. He hates them both. Get him out of here. So our first match is a special rematch they announced. I don't know why we're getting a rematch, but it is Scott Flash Norton versus the Shark, John Tenta.
What? I was watching this and I was like, that looks a lot like Earthquake.
Yep.
Is this that? And I was like, it hit me, and I texted Joanne. I was like, I'm watching your dad right now on WCW. You should watch this. I don't know why. I just like feel like I need to tell him every time I see your dad. I'm like, you need to watch this too.
The Shark was such a funny character. I love how he had on his beard, he had like the bottom jaw of a shark, and then his headband was the top jaw. So he kind of looks like that Jaws poster of the shark coming out of the water.
I kept thinking about you and like the big meaty men bit, because during this match it was like big meaty men
slapping meat.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. But it was like yes.
Oh yeah, I have that saved now as a sound drop because we're gonna need to use that. Yes, this is absolutely big meaty men slapping meat. Scott Norton, who really got big in his career in Japan. Also, speaking of him, I was watching Dark Side of the Ring. I forgot the new season has already started. The first 3 episodes are out. I watched the first 2. The first one is Mick Foley, Hell in a Cell. Second one is Ludwig Borga. He's a piece of shit Nazi. And then the third one is Vader. And watching Vader and like him and guys like Scott Norton over in Japan just doing the strong style wrestling, which is insane. Where they're just like, hey, you know how we could really make it look real is if we just really hit each other really hard.
Yeah.
It's like,
hey,
fuck that.
You know what? Let's just do it.
Yeah, let's just do it. Fuck faking it. So that's been really interesting. Scott Norton is definitely one of those guys. So Scott Norton, he's making his entrance, but he gets attacked from behind by the Shark while he's coming out. The Shark slams Norton into the stairs and the ring post on the outside before throwing Norton into the ring. The bell rings and the match has officially begun. Now that both men are in the ring, because, yeah, we need that for the match. You have to be in the ring. Shark hits Scott Norton with a belly-to-belly suplex, followed by an elbow drop. It's a meaty one, folks. I put it right there in my notes. Steve McMichael knows what I'm talking about. He said, I hope you reinforce this match tonight, to which Bischoff replies, I hope you reinforce the floor. Bobby Heenan says, you're not going to see a lot of wrestling holds tonight. You're just going to see 2 big, huge men pound each other, which is basically saying,
big meaty man slapping meat.
Thank you, Big E. Steve McMichael says, this is surf and turf, baby. Shark versus a rhinoceros.
That was so funny.
Oh, man.
Oh, and then the ad break, the WCW hotline.
Yes, okay. So this, if you want, Bischoff says, if you want to know what's going on in the world of professional wrestling, you can call the WCW hotline 1-909-9900, which was the number for the longest time. They've had this for years. So he says that it's Mike Tenay is running it. But I looked up because Mean Gene was kind of known for running the hotline. And it was rumored that he had it in his contract that he would get 75% of the revenue of the hotline.
Did they just make a shit ton of money?
Oh, yes. Because it was like $1.50 a minute.
It's hard to like conceptual, especially younger generations, just like that paid number.
A phone line, a hotline. And the whole thing is because you're charged by the minute, they would draw it out so much. There would be intros with music and shit playing. And then, like, they would just basically just slowly talk and give you the news. And a lot of times they do a bait and switch. Like, Mean Gene was really called out a lot for doing this, where he would just, like, talk. He'd kind of hint at, hey, we're talking about somebody from up north in New York.
The kids these days call it edging.
You could call and Mean Gene could edge you over the phone at a cost. I mean, that's the 1-900 numbers back in the day. So Eric Bischoff, again, with the tease here, saying there'll be news on the hotline about wrestlers who are no longer part of WCW, even as of today. Holy shit.
Damn,
who's leaving WCW? We don't know. We're going to have to call the number.
I'm hooked.
It's too late, though. It's gone. Sorry. Scott Norton picks up the Shark with a power slam, gets the 1, 2, 3. Scott Norton is your winner. As we go to break, we see a graphic of Eddie Guerrero versus Ric Flair coming up next. So that's another huge match. Before WWE, both these men were going to fight on Nitro.
As JR would say, we got 5 main events.
Every match is a main event. By God. So as we're at break, we see a promo for World War III, the 3-ring battle royale in WCW, which Lacy just learned about because you didn't know about this.
I've seen T-shirts. I see this world we have merch of things. I don't even know. Like APA, we found out doesn't mean ass pounding association. You know, like
Acolyte Protection Agency.
Things. And so I was asking Zerpie, like, okay, so World War III it's like 3 rings.
Yep. It was WCW's answer to WWF's Royal Rumble, which was 30 men, 1 ring. They're like, let's do 3 rings and 60 men. And everybody would get in the rings at the beginning of the match. So it was just everyone filled up all 3 rings, and then the match started, and you just get eliminated over the top.
I could see somebody getting hurt for real. Sure. Like, I mean, just the chaos. I can't even picture it. Is there footage of this? Like, I can't even picture.
That's like
happening.
You haven't seen it yet. You've only seen the promos for it.
The lead up.
At some point, we're gonna have to watch a World War III match. So I'm sure
God.
Your dad was probably in this one. I know he's booked for a match on the pay-per-view, but I'm assuming everybody on the roster is basically in the World War III match.
Yeah, my ADHD has to know how this.
We'll get to it
was
eventually.
Like, I need to know.
I'll tell you this: they did about 5 of them, and I believe 5, and none of them were good. it was, and the bullshit ending to this one. This was the first one,
okay,
and it was a bullshit ending because Macho Man won, but Hogan wasn't technically eliminated. He was pulled out from someone outside under the ropes. And so it was Hogan basically politicking to get in the way of someone else winning the title.
What in the egomania?
Doesn't work for me, brother. We come back and Mean Gene is on the ramp with Kevin Sullivan and Jimmy Hart. Oh, God. I'm going to try and do this without doing a horrible Jimmy Hart impression.
You got this.
Mean Gene says, with me at the time is the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan, the head man of the Dungeon of Doom. Then he turns to Jimmy Hart. On his other side, he says, and you've got to be the original Benedict Arnold, Jimmy Hart. The way you've been stirring things up, you've been stirring the pot, and it's really starting to smell. Jimmy Hart says, well, you know, thanks once again for the compliment. All right, I can't do that. Oh, Mean Gene, Stinger, listen to me, baby. Tonight's your night. You can beat the so-called immortal Hulk Hogan. Jimmy Hart is not going to be at his side tonight. He's lost the little Hulkamaniacs. Sting, listen to me. When he came into the WCW, baby, you gave him your stamp of approval. When he needed a co-star in Thunder in Paradise, it was you, Sting, by his side. But look now, he's got a brand new best friend, and it's the Macho Man Randy Savage. Look, there's a brand new episode of Baywatch coming out. Baywatch, remember Baywatch? Did you get a call to be on that show, Stinger? I don't think so, baby. And we see a clip of Baywatch co-starring Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage this week.
We watched Baywatch for the plot.
Yes. Everybody did. That Hasselhoff plot. It is. It was his new best friend, the Macho Man Randy Savage. Think about it, baby. Mean Gene goes, the bicycle chain is snapped by the sounds of his voice, Kevin. Kevin Sullivan says, well, now I'm definitely not going to do this because I can't do a Boston accent like Kevin Sullivan. But he says, let me tell you what's going to snap. What's going to snap is World War III, which doesn't make any sense. What does that mean?
They're so excited for World War III.
Yeah. It's like, that sounds like, out of context, that sounds horrible.
Oh, my God.
Come on, bring it on. World War III. So Kevin Sullivan says, 3 rings, 60 men, all vying for the same thing, Mean Gene, the world title. That Hogan was stupid enough to hand over to the only manager I ever had, Jimmy Hart.
But then doesn't he have the title?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Okay. Yeah, I was confused about that bit.
All I know is that the title is on the line in this match. I don't know who has it right now. Is it vacant? Vacant? However you say that word.
It is a free-for-all.
I guess so. Well, that's what's interesting about this. I do like when, I think they've done it a couple times in the Royal Rumble where they actually put the world title on the line. Whoever wins the Royal Rumble. Those matches are sick. So that's really it makes it more interesting than just getting a title shot later.
The matches that they'll have at like WrestleMania where the title's like hanging up above.
Like a ladder match.
Yeah, like a ladder match or something like that.
That's interesting too. Yeah. World War III with the title up. It's gonna be you against the Dungeon. There's strength in numbers. So Kevin says that they've waited a long time to get Hogan in the ring with a bunch of them. Mean Gene calls both Jimmy Hart and Kevin Sullivan pieces of garbage, then throws back to Bischoff on commentary. Bischoff mentions how when Macho Man debuted in WCW, he said he had one thing on his mind, and it was the world title. With everything going on, how much can Hogan trust him? That's the whole old story. The story is old as time in pro wrestling is if you've got a friend in your corner, it's only a matter of time before they stab you in the back.
Right, and how the story goes with Hulk Hogan, don't fucking trust Hulk Hogan.
Also, don't. And Macho Man will be the first to tell you.
Because he's a bootlicker.
Yes. Macho Man will be the first to tell you in his rap album. Be a man, Hogan.
Did you hear Scotty on Chris
Van Vliet?
Yeah, his podcast. I love
Yes.
Scotty so much because he was like, yeah, we all know Hogan sucks. It's not like Randy didn't tell you. Hogan will go tell you something, and Randy will sit there and tell you. Like
exactly, yeah.
Because I forgot that
he made a whole album
that there was like some real drama between like Scotty and Linda and all that, and then never mind. Let's go back. I'm an ADHD.
Bobby Heenan says, right now the Taskmaster makes Sigmund Freud look like an amateur. Hogan, you don't have a friend in the world. You think Savage is going to help you? No, sir. Everyone is out to get you, Hogan. You now have to come off the tree like all the other nuts and apples. You're going to have to beat 59 people to become world champion. You can't do it. And then Steve Big Michael says, your opinion has a lot in common with my feet, and they both stink. So yeah, now we get what is advertised as Eddie Guerrero versus Ric Flair, which already is off the rails because Disco Inferno's music starts playing.
Oh my gosh.
Disco Fever. Disco Fever.
It was so good. I love that. I love that music.
The character is silly and dumb. The person himself, Glenn Gilberti, can go fuck off. He has really shitty opinions on women's wrestling.
What a stacked card. Stacked card. It's crazy. These had the Four Horsemen come out, and then Chris Benoit and Brian Pillman. They are not part of the Four Horsemen.
Yes, they are. What?
Okay, wait. Okay, hold on. I'm getting something merged.
Okay, so the Four Horsemen,
and then
the Four Horsemen is like an ever-changing team throughout the years.
Okay.
So they're always changing. There was so at this time, the Four Horsemen is let's see, it's Ric Flair, Orrin Anderson, Chris Benoit, and Brian Pillman. So those are the four right now.
Okay, so because I'm remembering a Michael Hayes in there somewhere.
No, Michael Hayes was part of the Freebirds.
Okay, I'm confusing but see, both start with an F, not a four. Freebirds, Four Horsemen. Okay.
I love that you're learning all this as we're going through this. This is really getting me excited because
and now I can see it because I'm like, I will merge things that are not.
Yeah, and those are there were so many teams around like early WCW. Like in the early 90s, there's so many teams. I'm trying to keep track of it because we're jumping around. We're watching these matches for the podcast. Then at the same time, I'm watching like 1990 WCW just for fun because I wasn't watching it. And then I'm also I got back to watching like the 1998 WCW and WWF and all the pay-per-views and stuff. So and then watching current wrestling every week. And I don't know how I keep any of it straight. It all blends together.
You were like the guys like on Game of Thrones that live in the Sentinel. Like,
I didn't watch Game of Thrones.
You're like my wrestling historian. I know that, and this started when we first met. Like when we started talking about it, I'm like, there's this one match, and my dad was throwing a nightstick to the Rock, and I could never think it. Like you,
and I let you know. And you'll send me like pictures. Sometimes you're like, who is this? And I'm like, I got you. It's this, and it's from this match of this year or whatever.
Yeah, I gotta gas him up about it too because I'm grateful, but it's also very, very cool. So. All right, back to it.
All right, so Bischoff finally notices that Disco's music is playing. He's like, wait a minute, not Disco Fever. It's Eddie Guerrero we're looking for. Disco Inferno comes out and he has a CD in hand. Like he's selling a CD. What the fuck is on the CD? He's not a musician. He's just a man who dances to disco music.
I was really wondering.
So I want to know. I don't know if this was an actual product. Were they selling a Disco Inferno CD? Because it's not, his gimmick wasn't that he's a musician. He's not like the Honky Tonk Man or Jeff Jarrett, who their gimmick were they were musicians, even though they weren't. But like all his gimmick is he's just John Travolta from Saturday Night Fever. He comes out and dances. So what is the CD?
WCW Greatest Hits Karaoke.
Yeah.
Impress all of your friends.
By knowing the lyrics to WCW entrance music. So then finally Eddie's music starts and he chases Disco off. Ric Flair comes out in a suit, clearly not dressed to compete in this match that has been sold to us. He's being accompanied by Brian Pillman. Commentary says, wait a minute, what's going on here? Pillman is a member of the Four Horsemen. As I mentioned, it's Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Chris Benoit, Pillman. Ric Flair says, hey, apparently somewhere in the wrestling world there's a big mistake made. They actually thought I was going to come out here and wrestle you tonight? To Eddie Guerrero. He says, brother, you know that's a mistake. I'm the Nature Boy. Woo!
And sometimes it's hard to understand him. He'll be like, woo! I'm like, whoa, man.
And the woo is just a period at the end of a sentence. And I'm so focused on the stinger that I have decided to let the great flying Brian Pillman have the honors of pounding you through the mat. Double A and Benoit, as we speak, are gassing up the jet. The Hooters girls are ready to go. Flying Brian, you take care of my leg work and I'll hold the jet. Brother, knock 'em dead. Woo! And that's it. That's all it takes to change a match on the card. He doesn't need to talk to, who was it? J.J. Dillon, who was running things. Although J.J. Dillon was the manager of the Four Horsemen in the early days. So he probably, if Rick just went up to J.J. Dillon and says, hey, change this match. I don't want to wrestle. I'm going to make Brian wrestle. He would have been like, all right. So that's it. The bell rings and Pillman takes off his red jacket. He uses it like a bullfighter's cape, waving it at Eddie, who does not find that amusing.
A bit of a microaggression.
Little bit of racism, kind of, I feel like, from Pillman here. Pillman puts up the 4 in Eddie's face, and every time someone puts up the 4 for the Four Horsemen, you always do it like, it's just so much, fuck you. That's what it is. It's just, it's like giving somebody the finger, but you're giving a 4. And so that's what Pillman's doing. Eddie, he swats it away, and Pillman slaps him in the face. Pillman sends Eddie into the corner. Eddie gets out with a necktie head scissors, which Bischoff calls. And it legit impressed me that he knew the name of that move. I didn't even know the name. And that's fucking cool. Necktie head scissors. Followed by a quick drop kick from Eddie, and then a slap to the face in quick succession. Bobby Heenan says, I'll tell you something about Eddie Guerrero. You two singing the praises of this ham and egger. I love ham and egger. I love when someone calls someone a ham and egger. Every place I go, on the airlines, in the hotels, everybody is asking me about Eddie Guerrero, Eddie. I've had it with him. Steve McMichael says, you need a breath mint. Eddie Guerrero goes for a crossbody.
So many little one-liners.
Little digs at each other.
I wanted to remember.
That's a good commentary team right there, when you guys can just play off each other. Yeah. Just constant digs.
I knew it was going to be good as soon as I saw that dog in that cowboy hat.
I forgot about Pepe. I was aware of Pepe, but I forgot about him until I saw him on the beginning of this episode.
To see a man that large with an
former
it's like Elle
Chicago
Woods.
Bears
that's a diva.
linebacker Steve McMichael with a teeny tiny dog.
Diva knows no gender.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
So Eddie Guerrero goes for a crossbody off the rope, but he's countered midair by Pillman with a drop kick. That was a fucking badass move.
He is so good. I love watching Brian Pillman.
Yes.
So much. He's so fine. But he's so good. And it surprised me because when I first sat down and watched, I was like, I didn't think about Chris or Brian or even Shark being in here. So I really was enjoying this episode.
Oh, yeah, that's great. You seeing people that you're like, oh. Yes, these people are also on the show.
Was amazing.
Yeah.
Just going to throw that out there.
I'm kind of just seeing early Pillman that I missed out on because he died in 1998, I believe, 97 or 98. And so
rest in peace.
when I started watching,
way too young.
yeah. So it's cool seeing him, and this is kind of the best era right now.
Lex, his son, over in NXT, he's so fucking
Alexis King, yeah.
so good. I love watching him too. Anyway.
He's got the weird beard, man.
No. Can't even touch that. That is an art.
So Eric Bischoff, once again, he's putting over the main event. Sting versus Hogan is a pay-per-view level main event on free TV. Pillman calls Eddie trash and spits in his face. Holy shit.
Damn.
Eddie double legs him and starts unloading fists to the face. Flying Brian crawls to the apron. Eddie tries to suplex him back into the ring, but Pillman instead suplexes Eddie to the outside of the ring. Pillman goes up to the second turnbuckle, leaps to the outside. Eddie moves out of the way at the last second, and Pillman collides with the steel barricade. Ooh, that looked like it hurt the ribs.
Ouch.
Brian Pillman stumbles around on the outside, and Eddie goes to the top rope, dives onto Pillman on the outside with a flying body press. Back in the ring, and Guerrero hits Pillman with a brain buster. Bischoff mentions on commentary that we'll take a look at Macho Man's injury to his arm from last week, and he's going to be upset about that with World War III coming up. So Macho Man is in a sling. He was attacked, but we'll see the clips a little bit later on.
It showed a little video of him and Hulk just looking like besties walking down the the hot summer, or I'm sorry, Florida day in the sunshine.
Just walking on the beach together, shooting Baywatch.
Yeah, for the plot.
Yeah, for the plot. Pillman climbs up and tries to superplex Eddie, but Eddie pushes him off the ropes and goes flying, hitting the frog splash center of the ring. 1, 2, 3. Eddie Guerrero beats Brian Pillman.
Looked so cool, so clean. Finished it up.
I love too that Ric Flair's like, just go ahead and take care of this. This should be easy. We'll be waiting at the jet. And then he doesn't doesn't get it done. Like, well, damn, you should have done it yourself, Ric Flair. You want something done right, do it yourself.
Gonna have to find another made man or whatever.
But luckily, since the Four Horsemen aren't in the building anymore, they've already left. There's no one there to just come out and jump Eddie for winning. So I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So we go to a break. We come back, and it's time to take a look back on Macho Man's injury to his arm from last week. So we see a clip of Macho Man up on the top turnbuckle. He hits his patented flying elbow drop on Meng, gets the pin, and then other members of the Dungeon of Doom run in, and they attack Randy Savage. It's Kevin Sullivan, the Shark, and the Shark grabs Savage's arm, and Sullivan does a running knee lift. Lex Luger runs in and continues to attack Savage's arm by slamming it on the ring apron and the ring post. Now, I didn't know Lex Luger was with the Dungeon of Doom. Lex Luger, we know, just recently came back to WCW at this time because he was on that was like the big surprise on the first episode of Nitro was Lex Luger walked out, he showed up.
He, to me, because I learn about stuff kind of in hindsight sometimes because I've spent time with Lex at the convention. I just did not care about wrestling so much. You just don't know how cool it is at the time. And it's like, oh, why is this old man about to cry on me talking about my dad? Like, it's okay. We're okay. Friends. But it's like, oh my God, that's like, I should have been more great. Like, I just didn't know. And also I was very shy, a lot less shy now, but he's a really, really nice guy. And
it was all the foreign world to you. You are now just kind of learning about who these characters are, who these people are as characters in the wrestling ring. So
and he's just very kind.
He's being inducted to the Hall of Fame this year.
That's right.
WrestleMania. So
him and Earthquake, Shark and Typhoon.
I thought they were already inducted.
No, they're going in this year.
Oh, they are? Yep. Yeah. Oh, as the tag team. That's right. Yeah. The Natural Disasters is the name of the tag team. I should know that.
So, and that's... Oh, and WrestleMania weekends next weekend. So we forgot to talk about that at the beginning, but that's obviously...
That's because I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, we just like wrestling.
There's so much I'm watching, and WWE has kind of gone to the back burner right now, but I will be watching WrestleMania.
We're very excited for our friends.
Yes.
going in and getting to experience the VIP, like Hall of Fame treatment, because it's...
Plus, I've always wanted to go to WrestleMania weekend, not only just to watch WrestleMania because I've never seen it in person, but the weekend, whatever town they're in, it's always a big wrestling weekend where a bunch of indie shows are doing stuff that weekend and everything. You can just walk from venue to venue, just seeing small shows and everything. I would love that. It's a fun wrestling atmosphere party going on.
And I've got it on good authority. We might be looking at a WrestleMania in New Orleans next year. In New Orleans, so who knows? We're gonna do a WrestleMania in the next coming years, though.
We'll see.
We can manifest.
I'll be cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. So, but
Who knows? If you guys, you tell people about the podcast.
Yeah,
more listeners is good.
Podcast.
So finally, it is time in the night for the reason why we're here. Big Bubba taking on Road Warrior Hawk in singles competition. It's
they start off with the roast right away.
Well, I just say it's nice for Bubba to come out here well dressed in a jacket and tie. He's dressed up.
Nice of him to dress up for us.
He's basically wearing a suit out to the ring, and I was like, oh, that's really sweet. We get a shot of the crowd, and there are some glorious mullets.
Beautiful mullets.
Oh, we are mid-90s right now. Mid-90s wrestling.
And
so
it's back in style.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean, look at Dominic Mysterio. Look at Lexus King. Well, he doesn't have so much of a mullet now, but he did in AEW. Hawk enters the ring and after his entrance and immediately goes to the outside and starts unloading on Bubba. Hawk sends Bubba to the inside, and the match starts. Bubba off the ropes, duck under, back body drop by Hawk. Lariat takes down Big Bubba. Man, they are just off to the races.
It's so funny to watch this match and then know how sentimental and how much these two men just fucking loved each other.
Yeah.
And were besties. And so it's
they're on the road.
They were having so much fun. And you can just tell. And you can tell with the way the crowd was getting into it. Because he's heel in this, right? Because I couldn't tell who the crowd was cheering for.
Bubba's a heel.
Definitely for Hawk.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, they literally
He looked amazing. He was throwing him around like nothing. I was like, holy shit, this man is huge. Because I've never seen a match of Bubba and Hawk.
It's almost like...
Big meaty man slapping meat.
Yeah.
Like I said, this podcast, there's going to be a lot of them.
And at one point, he made it look so easy. And I was like, oh, yeah. Dad probably loved because he could trust him.
Yeah.
You know?
And wrestlers will say that. They're like, man, when there's somebody where you just have good chemistry with and you know them really well, they're like, it's easy.
Yeah.
You go out there and you're like, we got this. It's them. And they have fun with it. And it's those people who know themselves the best. That's why you're always going to see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens till the end of time. They're just going to be constantly fighting because they're best friends and they have that chemistry in the ring.
Right. They can make comedy.
Comedy, yeah, exactly. Comedy and drama and all of it.
Because he had, and they talk about it carrying around a roll of quarters in the pocket for the Big Bubba character because he's like a gangster, right?
Yeah.
He hired.
And that's what you do. You have a loaded fist. You hit him with a roll of quarters.
We would have roll of quarters
just around
the house. Always. And
living the gimmick.
Well, and he probably really did that in real life. Too, if I'm being honest. But yeah.
That's funny.
I loved this match. And it wasn't done one and done. It kind of went on a little bit. Not like the last couple of matches. What, the 4-minute Steve Hackman? How long was this match?
I didn't even check. I don't know. I feel like it was longer though than the hardcore match from last week or the last episode. So Bubba begs to the corner and he tries to kick Hawk, but Hawk catches his foot, then catches the other one. Bubba's continuing to beg because he's like, he's got both my legs.
Yeah, he's leaned against the corner of the ring with both of his legs in the air,
holding himself up by his shoulders.
I'm like, come on, okay.
His elbows. Yeah, and then Hawk just pulls both legs out, slams him down on the mat.
He pauses for a second like it's a cartoon and just...
he slams on the mat and then the roll of quarters falls out of his pocket.
Yeah, he's got to pick it up real quick.
And so commentary could have just let that go.
They never knew what it was the whole time. They couldn't even guess. Yeah. And he's got something with him in his pocket.
They do. They're like, maybe it's a roll of quarters or something like that, but you couldn't really tell. And it's one of those situations where obviously that wasn't supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to fall out of his pocket. It'll come into play later in the match. But it's that time where you got to decide, do we do we call this out?
Well, and
or
they
do we
probably could
ignore
get
it?
in trouble for saying it, because if brass knuckles are illegal or whatever, you can't like have a workaround carrying a roll of quarters in your fist,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden kids are punching each other with rolls of quarters. I'm making something up.
I don't
and
know.
it's not
Maybe kids do
like,
that.
No, I don't think kids do that. I
hope not,
think
God.
as far as suck it.
Well, like, what elementary school did you go to?
The one on the bad side of town,
Yeah.
kid.
The school
The
of
wrong
hard
side.
knocks.
Yeah.
So we got mounted punches by Hawk as Bubba is begging for mercy. Hawk sends Bubba back into the corner and he picks something up from his pocket. So that was the roll of quarters. Hawk body slams Bubba, and Bubba's number one concern is making sure that the object does not fall off his pocket again. So every time he slams, he like puts his hand in his pocket.
Yeah.
Like, all right, got to make sure the quarter's there. All right, good.
It's like that CD Disco Inferno had when he carried out. He's like, he didn't tell anyone about this. He was just like, this will be a good idea. I'll just carry these quarters. Maybe we'll sell it. It's not going quite.
That's gonna be the gimmick.
It's
like,
not going as well as we thought.
we're selling rolls of quarters at the gimmick at the merch stand.
Fake quarters with Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan's face.
Oh my God, no. Hawk is up to the top rope. He goes for a body slash, but Bubba rolls out of the way. Steve McMichael brings up on commentary that Bubba clearly has something in his pocket. No shit, McMichael. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah.
Bubba takes advantage with some uppercuts and a lariat. Beautiful uppercuts. Jeremy mentioned in our Discord recently, he's just like, man, your dad had some awesome uppercuts.
That's what
They were
Don
good.
Fry was like, your dad, man. Your dad had a beautiful left hook, and I was like,
From Don Fry, that's actually like that's a
how
really
do you
awesome
know
compliment.
that? How do you know? I need the lore. But
Yeah, exactly. Like, did you
wanna
guys
see-
get into an altercation?
do
I
you
wanna
want to
know
see
about
mine?
this. Was this? Yeah. You want to
I
have a
can
bar
shoot-
fight with Don Fry?
Yeah.
Lacey's a
I can
badass.
teach you your women's right.
Bubba hits Hawk with a headbutt. Heaton says, "Don't hit him in the head, Bubba. There's nothing in there that you can hurt." God, that's why Brain is so good. That's why he's the Brain. He's got those great
Man,
quips.
Hawk looks so badass in his gear, though. Road
Dude,
Warriors
Road
gear
Warriors
is so
always-
badass.
Ringside Collectibles just came out with their brand new figure line, and the first figures in the line were the Road Warriors, which
Good choice.
is awesome because Mattel released them years ago, and they don't have the rights to them anymore, so they go for a lot on eBay. So it's cool that like now another company is making them, and I got them right away.
Oh,
I have
awesome.
them. I've already done a shoot with them. Oh yeah. Also, I was like, man, what would be great with this to go with this podcast is my figure photography of the matches that we're
Dude,
covering.
yes. There's
But
so
every
much
but so far I'm always missing something that I can't do the match. So the first match, Ray Traylor versus Tully Blanchard. They don't make a Ray Traylor action figure, a rookie Ray Traylor, and they don't make it, or I don't have a Tully Blanchard. So second match was One Man Gang. They don't make a One Man Gang action figure.
That's because he owns his name. Oh, but somebody might produce one.
I think there is somebody. It might be Zombie Sailor Toys announced one recently, so they're gonna do one. So
yeah.
I might pick that up. And if that's not the right company, I apologize. I think it's Zombie Sailor.
Yeah, I had the great pleasure of getting to speak with Mary, George's wife.
Oh, yeah.
She's
One
my
Man
new
Gangs, right?
bestie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
She was like, there's going to be something, so I just don't want to talk.
Yeah.
talk
You don't
too
know what
soon,
you...
but-
I believe it was announced. I did
Yeah.
see it in the figure news. And then the third match, Steve Blackman. They don't have a Steve Blackman action
We
figure.
need a Steve Blackman.
Yes, please.
and
Somebody
all
make
of his
one.
accessories.
Yeah, all the schema sticks and everything. This time, though, I'm like, I have a Big Bubba action figure. I have a Hawk action figure now. But I don't have the third person who gets involved in this match. We will get to that in just a moment here. Hawk starts fighting back, but Bubba catches him off the ropes with a spine buster. Bobby Heenan says, Hawk is grounded. Tweet, tweet, tweety. Hawk climbs to the top rope and dives onto Bubba, but Bubba swats him away. Finally, it's time for Bubba to use the object from his pocket. I say here we can't quite tell what it is, but you say it was absolutely a roll of quarters.
Yeah.
So he holds it in his hand. He tapes up his hand and wrist around the roll of quarters. And he goes to punch Hawk with his loaded fist, But Hacksaw Jim Duggan runs out and grabs Bubba by the ankles and trips him. Bubba falls on his own loaded fist and knocks himself out. That is the finish of the match. Huck takes advantage of the situation, pins Bubba 1, 2, 3. He knocked himself out, Lacy.
Classic trailer thing to do.
We are
clumsy. We are clumsy.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't tell you.
I hope you don't knock yourself out.
Dude, I fell in a prickly bush last week.
I thought you were going to be like, as a kid.
It looked like I was emo. Like, it looked like I'd cut
you had scrapes up your wrists?
Yeah, I had to wear long sleeves. But, oh my gosh, that was
so
funny.
Curse.
It was so funny because, one, you could just tell they're having a great time.
Yeah.
And then the roll of quarters thing, I'm sitting here realizing, things. I'm realizing things like he loved The Sopranos because he thought he was
a gangster.
And I'm like, the Blues Brothers.
That's
I'm
why
still
I love
going to watch that. Yeah. Well, also, I feel like Sopranos is one of the first. Well, I can't say that because old Western shows have big, ugly old men in it. Moving along. Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. Shout out Dom again for the recommendation.
Yes, thank you for recommending this one. This was great.
This was really fun.
I had a lot of fun
this main event is crazy.
Yeah. So apparently, though, but this whole thing with Jim Duggan and Big Bubba and him taping up his fist, was because at World War III, there's going to be a match between Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Big Bubba. It is a taped fist match. Now, I had to look up on Wikipedia, what the fuck is a taped fist match? I don't think I've ever seen one. For a taped fist match, the wrestlers are allowed to tape or wrap their hands to allow them to punch harder without damaging their hands.
You've never had to do that?
So basically, no. So basically, I guess this is like a bare knuckle boxing, basically, is what this is. They're just taping up their fists, so they're going to be punching each other, which it seems weird in a wrestling match because you would think then, okay, they're going to punch each other a couple times and then someone's going to get knocked out.
It does hurt to punch people.
Yeah, well, that's why for a long time, closed fist was banned in wrestling. That's why the open hand chop is a move, because you can't punch. Because in kayfabe, it won't make sense if you're getting hit with fists, you're going to get knocked out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because we see it all the time in UFC. So, and kickboxing and any MMA.
Well, I was just always taught use that elbow.
Well, and that's why they do the forearms and everything and elbows in wrestling, because you should not be able to punch. So it looks like this match though would allow them to punch each other. So that is coming up at World War III. Spoiler: Big Bubba wins.
Oh, wow. Wow, what a shocking surprise. I would have literally never guessed. Might have to watch it now just to see.
Oh, now we're going to have to watch it.
Oh, see, but all my favorite matches end up being ones that he loses.
He loses, exactly.
4 minutes. 4 minutes.
4 minutes. So it's finally time for the main event. Sting versus Hulk Hogan. Sting actually comes out wearing red and yellow. Hulk Hogan's colors, usual colors.
So fly. He looks great.
Dude, Sting is so cool.
He is the coolest
in wrestling. He's my number one favorite of all time. Bobby Heenan says, this is Mind Games, being played by Sting, wearing the red and yellow. Bischoff says it's Sting trying to bring Hogan back to where he came from. Because he wants to help him. He wants to save his friend from the dark side. Hulk Hogan's American-made entrance theme starts playing, which is the lesser of the Hulk Hogan themes. Not as good as his WWF theme.
I think they're all terrible.
They kind of all are. Well, Voodoo Child by Jimi Hendrix was good when he was
Did he come
Hollywood.
out to that?
Yeah, when he was Hollywood Hogan in the NWO.
He's not allowed to use Jimi Hendrix music.
So Macho Man comes out, though, instead of Hulk Hogan. He's got his arm in a sling because he's injured. And Macho Man gets all the Hogan pyro to himself because Hogan's not coming out. And he's just standing there for way too long, just waving Hogan out, and Hogan's not coming out, and he keeps just pointing, and he'll just kind of do the crowd and do his finger up in the air to the crowd, and then go back to the entrance and point and wave, and Hogan is not coming out. But finally, we see Hogan has come through the crowd. He snuck up behind Sting. And he's wearing Black Phantom of the Opera mask for some reason, as if he needs to hide from anyone, and you wouldn't recognize that that's Hulk Hogan, the most recognizable man in professional wrestling.
Not gonna start singing the Phantom of the Opera. Not gonna start singing the Phantom of the Opera.
At night he came to me. I don't know all the words. Macho Man gets all the Hogan pyro. Oh wait, no, we already said that part. So Hogan takes his time taunting in the ring before he finally taps Sting on the shoulder to tell him, like, I'm here. So it was a sneak attack for no reason, because he's not going to sneak attack Sting because he's also a babyface, so he just tapped him on the shoulder.
Hogan needs a spanking and to be put in timeout.
Well, I don't know where this is going.
Because it's like, sometimes I'll be watching it and I'm like, oh, the potential in the bit that if maybe Hogan would have been a little more like humble or like giving to say, okay, I don't have to be like number one, like undefeated. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that was the problem with
and it's like,
Hogan's
I see
career.
that and I'm like, God, just like there's give and take. And it just seems like it's a whole lot of
Well, that don't work for me, brother.
Yeah.
All that works for him is being the number one guy, always going over and looking better than everyone else.
Yeah.
So Hogan doesn't sneak attack Sting. Doesn't make any sense. But it seems that Hogan is still very much a good guy here. The bell rings and Sting starts unloading on Hogan. Again, Hogan dressed in all black, but this is not the NWO Hogan.
This is anti-hero Hogan.
Yes. I guess
right?
it's just, the anti-hero.
Because I'm like, because I thought Sting was the good guy.
They both technically are. It's a babyface versus babyface match. So Hogan is wrestling in cowboy boots, and they're not like wrestling boots made to look like cowboy boots. They are legit cowboy boots, and that can't be good for your feet to wrestle in.
Those things are not comfortable either.
Yeah,
and they take a long time to wear in, and he ain't out there on the farm.
it's fucking Hulk Hogan. He's out on fucking Venice Beach.
Yeah, he's on his chopper.
Yeah,
on his Harley or whatever. Yeah, with his
Sting,
cowboy boots.
Yeah, with his cowboy boots, riding a Harley and wrestling.
I know they matched though.
Sting sends Hogan over the top rope to the outside with 2 beautiful drop kicks, and then does the woo. But it's different than the Ric Flair woo. The Sting woo has more growl and grit to it.
Yeah. I love Sting so much.
He's the best. He's the best. You got to meet him though, right? At the Hall of Fame. That's very cool. Hogan pulls Sting to the outside by the ankles, and they start to brawl around the ring. Hogan suplexes Sting on the floor. Ouch, that's got to hurt. Commentary compares Hogan and Sting to brothers who sometimes have to fight it out. Steve McMichael says, just as long as they don't get nasty, I got a brother and we used to settle some differences like this, and we still love each other. Bobby Heenan says, yeah, but he's 9. Heenan, just the best. Back in the ring, Hogan has Sting's arm while he's face down the mat. Hogan yells to Savage on the outside, he's either with us or against us. Savage says, lean on him, brother. Let's find out what he's all about. Yeah. Sting hits the Stinger Splash, but Hogan absorbs it, holds on to Sting in a bear hug. So he just took that whole in.
Sting was selling everything so well.
Sting does a move, and then Hogan just goes, but I will just hug you.
Yeah. This is what Adam...
And absorb it.
We were watching, Adam was like, Hogan is like, he's known for not being, I guess, like the most amazing wrestler in the world.
Yeah.
But Sting, like, he made everything look so good.
Because Sting is so good.
So good. I mean, and that's how you know who's really number one. Like...
That's why Sting
is
number one and loved by everybody.
We love Sting on this podcast.
Oh, yes. Very much so. Hogan Irish whips Sting into the ropes and goes for the big boot, but doesn't get his leg up all the way and basically kicks Sting in the dick.
That's what I was saying. And he sold
I was like, ow!
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Another Irish whip. This time Hogan hits Sting with an elbow to the top of the head. But it didn't appear to make any contact. Sting sells it anyway, kind of like that whiff we saw last week.
Yeah.
Or last episode. I keep saying last week. It's the last episode. How does time work? Back suplex by Hogan. He goes for the cover, but only gets a 2 count. Bischoff on commentary says, stay with us. This is where the action is. If you've been over with the other guys, you've been watching commercials. This is where the action is. So he's talking about Monday Night Raw on the other channel. Because they were always offset, because On the Superstation, TBS back in the day, everything would start at 5 after. So it was always offset by 5 minutes.
That is wild.
And it came in handy during the Monday Night Wars because Nitro and Raw were not on the same schedule. They were 5 minutes off, so the commercial breaks didn't line up.
We might have to do an episode eventually of timeline of these WCW, WWF, like, I don't even know how we would even begin to do that. And I know that the directors or the producers of Dark Side of the Ring did like the Tales of the Territories. I need to educate myself about these timelines because it's giving me whiplash.
Oh, I lived it. I was in my room just flipping channels. If there's a commercial on one, I'm going to the other, going, what's going on? All right, we got Owen Hart over here taking on Jeff Jarrett. Okay, what's going on Nitro? Okay, we got Sting versus Hogan. What the fuck? Actually, that timeline does not line up at all. Sorry. Those are like 2 completely different years. So we got a big vertical suplex by Hogan. He goes for another pin attempt, but only gets a 2. Sting starts to fight back and working on the legs of Hogan. So you know he's gonna try and snap on that submission hold very soon. And here he goes. He locks in the Scorpion Deathlock on Hogan. But Hogan powers out and begins to Hulk up. Here's the spot, the Hulk spot. He's no-selling Sting strikes. And he's shaking his head. And he's hulking up. Followed by the finger point. Which later in his career, that's when everyone go, you! But they did not do that back then. Just so you know, that was a new thing. We didn't always do that. He goes to the finger point, and he's fully in the that don't work for me, brother mode. Irish whip from Hogan. He gets the big boot all the way up this time and hits Sting in the face, not the balls. He goes for atomic leg drop, but Sting rolls out of the way. Sting gets Hogan back in the Scorpion Deathlock. Hogan is in agony. He's telling Macho Man, he's going to break my leg, Macho. Hogan is grabbing the ref. He's just going, help me, help me. He's just holding onto the ref, like grabbing him by his shirt on the ground. And just then, Kevin Sullivan and the Dungeon of Doom run in and interfere in the mats. It's Hugh Morris, Meng, the Shark, and the Zodiac. The Zodiac, if you don't know, is Ed Leslie, a.k.a. the Booty Man, a.k.a. Brutus the Barber Beefcake, a.k.a. the Disciple, a.k.a. God, what else was he? That might be it. He had a lot of different characters.
The Booty Man, the Booty Man.
The Booty Man, though. That one. Whew.
Lots of booty men.
He had his butt cheeks were sticking out of his trunks when he was the Booty Man. It was fucking stupid. So stupid. So the timekeeper is ringing the bell like a madman. The match ends in a no contest as Hogan and Sting fight off the Dungeon of Doom together. See, they had to team up back to back to fight off the Dungeon of Doom. Jimmy Hart brings out the Giant. Holy
my
shit.
God.
It's Paul White. It's the Big Show.
Just like how the first match we covered, Andre coded, they brought him out in that black one.
Yeah, the one strap, singlet.
I was like, this guy.
That was the original gimmick, was he was supposed to be Andre's son.
He was big. He was beautiful. He was young.
He looks so good as a young man here,
amazing.
Paul White.
Amazing. Oh my God.
So, and that he was the secret weapon of the Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah.
So, Dungeon of Doom have cleared out the ring as the Giant enters behind Hogan and Sting. Oh, I'm sorry. The Dungeon of Doom have been cleared out of the ring as the Giant enters behind Hogan and Sting. The Giant goozles both Hogan and Sting by the throats, lifts them up for the double chokeslam, but Macho Man comes into the ring with his one bad arm and saves them by hitting the Giant in the back with a steel chair and instantly regrets it because it hurts his arm. Then the Giant chokeslams Macho Man instead of Hogan and Sting, and they do nothing to stop him. Like, what the fuck, guys? Macho Man just saved your asses with a hurt arm. He just fucked up his arm even more before this pay-per-view, and you guys didn't do shit to help him.
Nothing.
That's fucked up, man. You know what? You know who comes out on top after all this? Fucking Macho Man, because he's got my respect. Macho Man's the best. Ooh, yeah.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
Snap into a Slim Jim. Yeah, dig it. The Giant is trying to climb back into the ring as the rest of the Dungeon of Doom hold him back, and we go to a commercial break. But we're not done yet. Ladies and gentlemen, there's still more. There's not that much more, but there's still more. We come back from break for some reason. Honestly, any other wrestling show would have cut at the end of that, but I guess maybe they just had extra time. So back from break, and it's Kevin Sullivan and Jimmy Hart. They're at the commentary booth assaulting Bobby Heenan. Bischoff is yelling at them to get out of there, and they finally leave. They broke Bobby Heenan's headset. It was just the one side is hanging off. The right earpiece with the microphone attached is hanging down. He keeps trying to put it back on his ear and just lets go, and it falls off.
That part was so chaotic.
I fucking love it. Bobby says, let me tell you something. They like me. What do you think they're going to do at World War III? What do you think they're going to do when they get their hands on the likes of Hogan, Sting, Savage, anyone else? And we've run out of time, and that's it for the Go Home Show to the very first World War III. And wow.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So what have we learned? We've learned when you have a loaded fist, watch your back because someone might trip you and then you'll knock yourself out.
Don't be too strong.
Don't be too strong.
Don't be too strong. You might hurt yourself.
Yeah, that's true. He was so good. His punches were so strong that he knocked himself out.
Yep.
That's how we choose to remember Big Bubba after that match
so
tonight.
Toxic.
Fuck yeah. And even though there was no real finish to the match, that was a fun main event. Seeing Sting and Hogan in 1995 was really cool because Hogan was still kind of fresh to WCW at this time, and Sting was your top guy in WCW.
Was Godfather in WCW? The reason I asked that is because we had an event out in Villa Rica last night, and I got to hang out with him for a little bit.
That's cool. Did he come out as Godfather
he
or
had
Smoke
on
Train?
His glasses.
Okay.
Because
I know he sometimes goes by Smoke Train.
It's not like he's coming out to like make a bunch, like get paid a bunch of money.
Yeah.
He's just coming out to help his buddy.
Show,
And Villa Rica, Georgia was blessed with the Godfather last night.
Fun.
He made a lot of people.
I don't
happy
recall him ever being in WCW. I know he played many different characters in WWF. The Godfather, the Good Father, as we saw on the last episode. Kama Mustafa in The Nation. And of course, Papa Shango.
Yeah, that's Papa Shango. That's
which I just did a action figure shoot.
Because that's his golden era bit.
Yeah.
So I guess because he was telling me, he said that's what Dad called him was Papa Shango.
Papa Shango.
So that makes sense that's like the golden era. Was his.
I think they might have. I think they did fight. They had a match. It was Papa Shango versus Big Boss Man that ended in a count out because of Nails came out.
Snap.
And then once your dad saw Nails, he was like, I'm going after that motherfucker. I don't care about this match.
Yeah.
He's an escaped convict. Get him.
Maybe next time we'll record an episode, I'll be able to tell you about my phone call with the Mountie, who I was. It broke my brain. I got a phone call or I got a voicemail the other week, and I'll be damned if it wasn't a Mountie.
That's a teaser for a future episode.
Yeah, so excited about that. But
very cool. Yes, tell us about that on a future episode. But that's it for this week and this episode. Lacey, where can people find you?
You can find me over on Instagram. Look up at the BubbaCast. I'm at Lacy, Laacy, Abilene, Abilene on Instagram. And then go follow Zerpie.
Zerpie_MD on Instagram, where I do my action figure photography stuff, and also on Threads. So if you find me on Instagram, you got me on Threads as well. And Blue Sky, same thing. I think I'm just Zerpie on there. So yeah, thank you, and tell your friends about the podcast. Give us a review wherever you download your podcast. We really appreciate it. And check us out on YouTube as well. We've got the entire, every episode is also uploaded to YouTube if you want to listen that way.
Hey, drop us some recommendations of some
what matches do you want to see?
Any questions you got? But we really appreciate you guys for listening.
Yep, thank you, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.